Ladies, sit down for this. Let me talk to you like your older cousin who's done lived a little. I ain't gonna sugarcoat this, because sugarcoating is exactly what got us here. You heard me? Stop it. That nice girl routine, it's cute in a Disney movie, but in real life, that's how you end up holding the phone at 2 a.m. wondering why he still don't respect you after everything you did for him. Now look, I'm not saying be rude, be evil, or walk around with a chip on your shoulder. I'm saying stop letting your kindness be used as a doormat. Every time you say it's okay when he cancels plans last minute, every time you overlook something that hurts your spirit just to keep the peace, you are teaching him how to treat you. And baby, you're training him wrong. Some of y'all been taught that if you're just nice enough, patient enough, quiet enough, he'll change. Let me ask you this. Did it work? Has it ever worked? Or did it just get you deeper in a situation where you're giving more and getting less? You think being nice is the same as being loyal? Nah. Being loyal means standing up for your worth, not shrinking it to make someone comfortable. Being kind to a man who's been unkind to you is not holy. It's self-abandonment. And here's the truth. The right man doesn't need you to bend over backward to prove yourself. The right man will recognize a queen and rise to meet her standard. But that won't happen if you keep making excuses, accepting crumbs, and calling it cake. Power attracts power. You want a man who shows up strong, focused, reliable? Then show up that way for yourself first. Start setting standards. Stop negotiating your value and watch how fast the boys vanish and the men appear. You weren't born to beg for attention. You were born to command respect. So stop being nice and start being unapologetically you. Because baby girl, nice ain't working. Let's try real. Mic drop. Let's get one thing straight. Being nice to a man doesn't automatically translate to being respected by him. A lot of women confuse the two. They think if they're always sweet, always agreeable, always giving, and never demanding, that somehow that will unlock a man's loyalty, love, and admiration. But that's not how it works. Respect doesn't come from being nice. It comes from standing on your values and enforcing your boundaries. Men don't respect what comes too easy. That's not to say men are bad or mean. It's just human nature, or people in general take for granted what they don't have to work for. And the truth is, when you constantly bending over backward to please someone, they're not thinking, wow, what a queen. You're thinking she'll tolerate anything. It's this twisted belief that kindness will win him over that has so many women stuck in cycles of unreciprocated love. They cook, they clean, they forgive, they wait, they settle, and they tell themselves, if I just keep being patient, he'll change. But the problem is, while you're being patient, he's being comfortable. He's not learning a lesson, he's learning a pattern. He's not saying, wow, look how good she is to me, I better level up. He's saying, I can get away with this again and again and again. That's not respect. That's convenience. Nice doesn't challenge a man. Nice doesn't hold him accountable. Nice doesn't say, I love you, but I love me more. That's what respect demands. That's what boundaries are about. Being respected means that when you speak, your words matter. When you say no, it's heard. When you cry, it's not brushed off. It comes from silence, from submission, from sweetness. It comes from being willing to walk away if necessary. It comes from not being afraid to lose a man who doesn't treat you right. Let's be honest. Some of you are using nice like a survival tactic. You're not really being kind. You're being afraid. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of confrontation. You're afraid that if you speak up, he'll leave. But here's the thing. If your silence is the glue holding the relationship together, it's already broken. If you can't voice your needs, set your standards, or say this isn't good enough, then what are you really in? A partnership or a performance? Men don't respect doormats, they wipe their feet on them. Men respect women who know their value and don't compromise it just to keep a man around. And yes, the truth is, some men will walk away when you start asserting yourself, but that's not a loss. That's clarity. That's life-saving. You tell them, let the ones who can't handle a strong woman eliminate themselves. Let them walk. Because the man who's worthy of you won't be intimidated by your strength. He'll be inspired by it. Think about it. The relationships you admire, the couples who seem truly solid, they aren't built on one person constantly being nice while the other takes advantage. They're built on mutual respect, on shared values, on real talk. That means there are boundaries. That means there's accountability. That means no one is above the rules. If you want that kind of love, you have to stop playing small to keep the peace. You have to stop being overly accommodating in the hopes that one day he'll see your worth. You are not a rehab center for broken men. You are not an emotional babysitter. You are not a discount version of a queen. You are the whole package. But if you don't act like it, no one else will. The moment you stop thinking that being nice is your greatest asset, you'll start to see your real power, your strength, your voice, your standards. That's what earns respect. So no, being nice won't make you respect you. Being honest will. Being consistent will. Walking away from what doesn't serve you will. And when you start living like your worth is not up for debate, guess what? The people who don't deserve you will stop showing up, and the ones who do will finally have room to enter. Every time you let something slide, every time you bite your tongue, every time you tell yourself it's not that serious, you are training him. Whether you realize it or not, you are showing him exactly how to treat you. Relationships aren't built in big, dramatic moments. They're built in the little decisions you make daily. When he forgets to call, he shows up late, raises his voice, or disregards your feelings, and you say, it's okay. He doesn't hear forgiveness. He hears permission. And that permission becomes a habit. That habit becomes a pattern. And before you know it, you're sitting in a relationship where your needs are constantly ignored, wondering how things got this bad, but you help build that situation with your silence. It starts small. He makes a slick comment and you laugh it off. He flakes on plans and you say, no worries. He doesn't introduce you as his girlfriend and you don't press the issue. And in that moment, you feel like you're being cool, chill, easygoing. You think you're being the type of woman that men say they want. But what's really happening is that you're setting the bar lower and lower, and he's adjusting accordingly. He's learning that your time is invaluable, that your emotions are flexible, and that your standards are bendable. You're showing him that you will accommodate anything as long as he sticks around. You have to understand, men respond to training. Just like you train a child how to treat others or train a pet how to behave in the house, you train people in your life how to treat you. The moment you let disrespect slide, you make it acceptable. You give it a green light, and the longer you allow it, the harder it becomes to change. By the time you finally get the courage to speak up, you'll be labeled as nagging, dramatic, or not the same girl you used to be. And that's because in the beginning, you trained him to believe you didn't have boundaries. Some of y'all are stuck because you taught him wrong. You gave all the benefits, all the nurturing, all the energy of a good woman, but without requiring him to step up in return. And he got used to that. Why wouldn't he? You made it easy. You made it sweet. You made it soft. And now you're tired, angry, frustrated, but you keep giving, you keep hoping he'll change on his own. But let me tell you something loud and clear. He won't change what you reward. If you keep loving him the same way after he disrespects you, he'll never see a reason to stop. And don't get it twisted. It's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing what you want, expressing it clearly, and enforcing it firmly. You are not being too much for having standards. You are not being too hard for expecting respect. You are not being extra for walking away when your needs are ignored. You are being wise. You are protecting your peace. You are setting the rules for how you want to be treated in love. And anyone who can't meet that level is simply not your person. A lot of women confuse love with endurance. They think that if they can just hold on long enough, he'll wake up and become the man they need. But that's not how real transformation works. Change doesn't happen because someone gets tired of hurting you. Change happens when you start accepting the hurt, when you start saying no, when you start walking away the first time, not the 10th. The real power isn't in how much pain you can survive. It's in how quickly you say, this isn't for me. You're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person. The right one won't need constant reminders on how to treat you. He won't need a manual on how to love you with respect. He'll watch, he'll learn, and he'll rise. But only if you set the tone. So stop training men to treat you like you're optional. Stop rewarding bad behavior with loyalty. Stop giving passes to men who haven't earned access to your heart. The man you want, he can handle your standards, but you got to show him how high they are every single time. Let's be honest. Some of y'all think being endlessly nice to a man is a sign of loyalty. You think that bending over backward, saying yes when you want to say no, constantly sacrificing your own comfort and giving him chance after chance is what makes you a ride. But in reality, that's not loyalty, it's people pleasing. And the dangerous part about people pleasing is it looks like love, it feels like devotion, but deep down is fear. It's fear of being alone, it's fear of rejection, it's fear that if you stop giving and start demanding, he'll leave. So you call it loyalty, you dress it up as love, but you're really just scared. You're not doing it because you want to, you're doing it because you're afraid of what will happen if you don't. That's not strength. That's not noble. That's not something to be proud of. It's self-abandonment. You are abandoning your own needs, your voice, your power, just to hold on to a man who hasn't shown you he deserves that kind of access to you. And you're doing it with a smile on your face, thinking that eventually he'll appreciate it. But let's get something straight. A man will never value a woman who doesn't value herself. He might enjoy her, he might use her, but he won't respect her. And without respect, there's no love. Real love starts where self-respect is present. So when you keep doing everything to make him happy, even when he's doing nothing to meet you halfway, you're not being loyal. You're being afraid. You're being afraid to let go of a fantasy. You're being afraid to start over. You're being afraid to face the silence that comes when you finally stop whining, facing someone who was never running towards you in the first place. But let me tell you something, real. Silence is better than begging. Peace is better than confusion. And loneliness, baby, that's better than being half loved. You can't keep calling loyalty when you're the only one showing up. You're not in a partnership, you're in a performance. You're doing all the work, carrying all the weight, and convincing yourself that one day he'll wake up and love you the way you've loved him. But he won't, because you've taught him he doesn't have to. You've made it easy. You've made it effortless. You've made it safe for him, not for you. When you love someone, you shouldn't have to become small. You shouldn't have to quiet your needs. You shouldn't have to keep the peace by sacrificing your own. Love is not supposed to be this exhausting, this one-sided, this heavy. If loving him feels like a full-time job and you're the only one clocking in, it's not loyalty, it's emotional labor, and it's unpaid. Some of you have confused consistency with commitment. You think just because he's still around, that means he's invested, but presence without effort is not love. Someone can be physically there and emotionally unavailable. Someone can be in your bed and still not in your corner. And if you stand just to say you have someone, even if that someone isn't treating you right, that's not love. That's settling. That's fear. That's giving the best parts of yourself to someone who wouldn't even fight to keep them. Being kind is a beautiful trait. Being soft, loving, and nurturing, that's powerful. But not when it's one-sided, not when it's used against you. not when you become addicted to proving your worth instead of knowing it. Real loyalty starts with being loyal to yourself. That means being honest about what you want, what you need, and what you will no longer tolerate. That means choosing yourself, even if it means losing him. Because if you have to lose yourself to keep him, then he's already gone. Stop calling fear loyalty. Stop giving your all to someone who only gives you just enough. Stop giving your all to someone who only gives you just enough to stay. Love yourself enough to stop performing. Love yourself enough to stop explaining. Love yourself enough to walk away when your kindness is being taken for granted. Because the one who's meant for you won't make you beg for basic respect. And he sure won't require you to break yourself in half just to keep him whole. Too many women are stuck in this mindset that being chosen by a man is the ultimate prize, like everything else in their life is just leading up to the moment when he finally picks them. But let me tell you something, being chosen is not the goal. Being respected, valued, and loved the right way is. Because if the man who chooses you doesn't treat you right, what exactly did you win? A title, a spot in his life where you're still crying yourself to sleep, still begging for attention, still questioning your worth. That's not a win. That's settling for crumbs and calling it a feast. See, when you get caught up in the chase to be chosen, you start doing things that go against your own self-respect. You overextend yourself. You lower your standards. You ignore red flags that are screaming in your face. All just to keep your spot in a relationship that's giving you nothing but emotional instability. You start believing that if you just hold on long enough, if you just keep proving yourself, he'll wake up and finally love you the way you deserve. But that's not how this works. A man doesn't respect the woman who begs to be seen. He respects the woman who walks when she's not. You weren't put here to be somebody's emotional backup plan. You weren't born to beg for validation. You are not a placeholder until he finds someone better. And if you feel like you're constantly trying to earn your place in his life, chances are you were never truly given one to begin with. Real love is not something you chase, it's something you align with. And when you respect yourself, you don't need to compete for someone who's not even showing up for you properly. And let's talk about this narrative that makes women feel like if they're not chosen, they're somehow enough. That's a lie society sold you. Just because one man doesn't see your value doesn't mean you don't have it. It means he's not qualified to handle you. It means he doesn't have the vision or maturity to appreciate what's in front of him. That doesn't mean you shrink. That doesn't mean you try harder. That means you exit gracefully and unapologetically. Because the one who truly sees you, who truly values you, won't need to be convinced. When you make being chosen the end-all be-all, you start tolerating treatment that doesn't match your worth. You stay in situations where you're not growing, not happy, not respected just because you don't want to be alone. But let me tell you something, being alone and at peace is better than being chosen and in pain. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you sure can't build a solid life with someone who keeps making you question your place in theirs. You have to flip the script. Stop asking, does he want me? And start asking, do I even want him? Not the idea of him, not the fantasy you've built in your mind, but the reality of who he is and how he treats you. Does he add to your life or drain it? Does he show up or just make promises? Does he see you or just use you when it's convenient? Because a lot of times we're out here auditioning for roles in men's lives who haven't even done the work to earn a front row seat in ours. You are not here to prove yourself. You are not here to compete with other women, to tolerate mistreatment, or to lose yourself in the hope that one day he'll see you as the one. You are the one, period. And the man who's right for you will know that without you having to perform, plead, or push. But he won't even have the chance to show up if you're too busy clinging to someone who only chose you halfway. Being chosen is not the goal. Choosing yourself every single day, that's where your power is. That's where the healing is. That's where the peace is. When you stand in your worth, you don't wait to be picked. You pick yourself. You build your life. You protect your energy. And if someone wants to be a part of they have to come correct. Because the days of begging for love, shrinking for attention, and settling for almost are over. You're not here to be chosen, you're here to be honored. Oh, let me leave you with this: stop being nice just to keep a man. Stop silencing your voice to protect his ego. Stop giving so much of yourself to someone who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared. You were not born to be quiet, soft, and easy just to be loved. You were born to be respected, to be honored, to be loved in a way that doesn't ask you to break yourself into pieces just to fit into his world. The right man won't require you to suffer to prove your worth. You'll recognize it from the start. So raise your standards, set your boundaries. And remember this, you are not here to chase love. You are here to become so full of it within yourself that anything less is simply unacceptable. Stop being nice to men who aren't nice to you. your life, your heart, your peace, they're worth more than that.